I met a gypsy.
There obviously was some turmoil around like leaving Aldon's.
The
and
burner
then,
thing was gnarly.
Contracts and like there's a lot of behind the
Him
scenes.
and Aldon had a financial beef. Like there was some financial beef with Aldon, and that's got all squared up.
Which like kind of fair enough in a sense, because if you look at, I mean, I'm talking about the sport in general, right? So if you're being forced to go to one guy, like I think we might have even spoke about this, but it's like if you're being forced to go to one guy only by your manufacturer, it's like,
and pay them.
Yeah, and then but then I've got to pay this guy, and then he sets the price. So like so it's like sign up for here, and then just give him this. So that's literally like
it seems like what Sipkovic was doing with Monster back in the day.
Yeah. So, but it's like if you're in the NFL, you don't like sign your NFL contract.
You sign for the program,
and then you got to pay your strength. You like, here, we'll give you this money, and then you're like, all right, that's your strength and conditioning, that's your massage guy, that's your fuck. That's just not how professional. Like, how professional is this?
I think it's changed,
and I think it has now. But like, hey, Coop, you're probably right to have some kind. And it's not saying Aldon's not worth the money. It's not saying, you know what I mean?
True, like,
it's just like this is up. Like, why are we doing it like this?
He sniffed it out. He finally called it as it was. Like, man, like, I don't need to pay him this much money. Like, no, that's the price. I don't know if that was the conversation, but he left not because Aldon wasn't good. It was because there wasn't communication and it wasn't negotiable. Probably that was really what it was. It was this is what it is. Like, I don't want that. So all goes down to negotiations. But
then if you're KTM, doesn't it give you more bargaining power if you're like, well, it's already paid for? Like we pay him $3 million a year, and that's where you got to go. And then it's like, oh, okay.
And I think that's what started us.
Yeah, but then when you do it the opposite way, where you're like, hey, you're our guy, we're paying you, there's your contract, but then you've got to go and pay. It's mandatory that you then take your money to pay. It just seems like a convoluted shit show.
It does. It seems like inside trading.
Yeah, kind of. So, but again, not saying that you shouldn't train there.
No. Like,
but it's just like the economics of it.
Yeah,
doesn't seem to make like a whole lot. And then again, when you go to the NFL, when you go to basketball, like star, like that's the same deal. You know, like
one guy might sign up just for a defender, like a defensive lineman might sign up just for the defensive line coach.
Yeah,
he might not even like the head coach.
Yeah.
Or he might sign up. Like, there's just, we gotta, there's...
But JGR, they had their own in-house gym. They had that...
JGR
you didn't have to pay for that.
Set the standard.
Star, you don't have to pay for, everything that they've got going on there. That's like part of being a professional athlete. So...
But I think KTM's way of doing it was like, you're going to pay a trainer anyways, because when you sign a rider like Cooper, you're like, hey, who's your trainer for next year? Because we got to make sure you're on the right program. Like, he's like, oh, I have Joe Smith doing my stuff. Oh, he ain't that good.
Nah, man. I just watch Rhino's Instagram.
Dude, oh,
could you imagine the fucking the blank faces you'd get if you were in
Rhino's my trainer.
Yeah, I just watch Rhino's IG. It'd be unreal.
Oh, far out.
But so I think maybe now that a few of those things are like smoothed out, maybe everyone can just...
Could you imagine, financial tension's stressful.
Fucking oath, man.
It's fine, like in life. So if Cooper's was riding with a pent-up financial stress on top of freshly married, like life, like that you wouldn't perform your best. So,
and everyone says that, oh, you make so much money. But it's like when you're a motocross rider, you kill yourself for 10 years. You have this 10-year career. And then you retire at like 27 to 30, whatever. Dude, life goes on, and you've got all these bills, and you've got...
And your lifestyle change. Like you go from... You got to be able to... Yeah, it's you got to be able to sustain a lifestyle, and that's the tricky part with moto is like these guys are making millions of dollars or $1 million.
But there's a cost of doing business.
There's a cost of business, and then they're used to a certain lifestyle. Then they got correct it to sustain. It's a tough, dude. Moto's a tough financial, because when you're in it,
it's any sport professionally. Like because if I was an athlete, I would want to retire and then not work again. Like, because you've just, it's a different, I think it's just different in the sense that you're paying to do your sport with your body. Like you look at the injuries, like a Justin Bogle, a Colt Nichols, Kent, like you're paying in flesh.
Yep.
Like not many people, like when I go to work, when you go to work, we're not paying in our own flesh and bones and blood. So it's like when you're in a sport and you're using your body you've got that's a racehorse that you got to put it out in a nice green pasture
and let it recover,
and then just let it live out its day. You know, the things, it's fucked.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, man, like, I mean, look at Kenny's arms.
Yeah, like he can't go be a laborer now.
Like, you know, and the thing is, setting up your very few pro motocrossers can set up a lifestyle. Like, when you're in it, you're making, let's use $300,000 a year. Like I talked to Brayton about Cameron McAdoo.
$300,000 is not a lot of money.
No. So, like, in the moment, Cameron McAdoo, and I'm a big fan of him, and, like, you know, what he's doing is hard work. But, like, I use him as an example. Like, he's got his house, got his pool, got his hot chick. She's a country singer. They do their thing. Like, they've earned all this and will earn more because they're good people and they're talented. But when you're in that element, when you're that young, it just seems like it might just come forever.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying they think that. But when you're that young, like, oh, that financial freedom will just keep coming. Cameron McAdoo will not get a business job for $300,000 a year.
Yeah, no.
He will start over at $75,000.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah. Because
he hasn't got a college education. Not because he's not a nice guy, not because he's intelligent. Because on paper, all he knows is this.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go from making $300,000 a year to nothing.
Yeah.
It's gnarly. Like, thank God I was never that good.
Yeah,
because I've watched friends, Billy Laninovich, like, you know, he was my best friend, man. Like, watch him go through some serious struggle of, like, I'm not gonna ride for $100,000. I'm like, really? Like, that's heavy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I made 180 last year. I'm not gonna ride for 100. Well, try being an electrician at 60.
Yeah.
Like, that's the rest of his life, you know? So I think you ask any pro rider that went from, like, a $300,000 a year, which seems like it should sustain forever, it falls off a cliff.
Yeah. And then, so, you know, to go back to the...
Sorry, we got off Cooper.
No, but yeah, it's just like, to put it back into context, it's like, it might seem like a crazy deal to, like, why are you making such a big deal about paying this money? Like, why is that a problem?
Because they could buy an investment property for that.
Exactly, you know? And it's just like, this is I've got a window to make money, and I'm being forced to. I'm being
it should
forced
be
somewhere.
It should be an inclusion.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like an a la carte.
Yeah.
Like that's I agree with you, and I don't know if it is or not. Like, I don't know today but that guy has a first class facility, but everyone's seen it. Like, dude, so many people have gone through his program now that they've taken all the knowledge. You have a Rattray program, you have the 83 compound with Burner, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has knowledge, and they're not just the one shop. He's not the one-stop shop. They've learned. He set the standard of all-inclusive. When you look at Star now, they trump his facility.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's that thing's just a workhorse because they've learned from him.
Yeah.
Like, Bakers set the standard of what all-inclusive, lockers, this, that. Like, that's what it is.
It is pretty crazy to think about this one guy that just was not involved in the moto community really at all. Like, didn't grow up racing, nothing. And he just, like, he over the last 25 years has completely changed.
Yeah,
like, he may be the most influential man in motocross. Who would have had a bigger impact globally on the sport than him?
I think, oh man, it's not far off. I think what I would argue is Carmichael was his platform, and why I respect Aldon so much and think and we're talking so highly of him, is he wasn't arrogant and he wasn't forward facing. He didn't want to be in the thing. He didn't just chirp. That's very true. He just did the work, and we all respect him because we don't really know, but we think we know. We've seen guys get sucked out, pop off the program. We've seen guys succeed in the program, but he doesn't change who he is. Aldon Baker always sticks to his guns. Yes, it's evolved and softened or hardened depending on who the rider is, but he sticks to his guns. It's a gluten-free diet. It's this. It's this. Like, it didn't work for Dino because that's not a Dino program.
Yeah, yeah.
But he didn't change who he was.
Dude,
he didn't change who he was.
How's Chase Sexton and Aldon Baker?
Oh my God.
If that goes down in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, look at Christian.
Oh, that's scary to think about.
The regiment.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got an absolute stud of an athlete.
And does that happen because Peter Park, who is up in Santa Barbara, because that's who Chase uses, and I think Chad started using him.
Yeah.
And Peter Park's even more behind the scenes than everyone else. If something's working, like with Chase, the trajectory is going right, do you change his program?
I feel like Chase is, the way that I see Chase is that he just wants to win so bad. Like, he's one of those really like rare people that's come into the sport, and he's like the premier class guy now, and he's like he's got the speed to win, he's got the talent to win, he's like already one at the top, but like all he wants to do is win a title. You could tell Chase Sexton that he needed to eat glass every single morning with his porridge, and he would eat glass every single morning with his porridge. So like in my head, if you're Chase and you want to win that title, that's why he's going to that's why he's going to KTM, right? Because KTM comes with Aldon, it comes with that program. It seems to me like he's just wanting to push himself into the direction where he can just go. I think Chase wants to be the guy that wins 3 titles in a row or 4 titles in a row, and then bounces. And he's just looking for the formula to do that. And like I said, he'll do anything. Maybe that's a big part of the move, because he's like you said, it's not for Dean Wilson. It is damn sure for Chase Sexton.
Structure.
Oh, and just like tell me what to do.
Yeah,
tell me what to do.
I trust in you.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of why he's going to KTM, but I think there's a big part of it is that he doesn't want to even fuck with the alpha male of Jet Lawrence.
Huge.
Sorry. Like
the biggest dick energy of an 18-year-old ever.
like I think he's going, no, I'm not even gonna let that even in I know that I can go to this team.
Yeah.
That's every bit as good, if not better, than this team.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about, and I can beat this kid and there won't be attention. I can be the alpha male. Like Cooper, like they look at the planning, like big year for Coop. At Red Bull KTM, it's a big year for all 3 of those guys. Like, because the alpha male's coming in, as in Chase Sexton.
Yeah.
Like, the hot kid is... So, could you imagine Coop...
And he ain't going to be so much of a kid by then either.
No, he's the
boss. He's the boss hog by the end of that.
Like, so, yeah, that's a big one. Chase Sexton, like, this year and the trajectory of confidence through Supercross, outdoors, going on to Red Bull KTM, like, it's going to be dynamic. Like... what that team, the Hunger Games that'll be going down for with Marv, Coop, and AP. Like, I could see Cooper hanging it up if he doesn't perform like he'd want to. I could just see him going, I'm out. Like,
if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.